What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you are on the podcast, please do subscribe. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free, unlike DirecTV. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place and let's get into this conversation. Everybody's been talking about Robin and what she, quote unquote, exposed about herself on her Reasonably Shady podcast. And Carlos King, who was a former producer with the Real Housewives franchise on Bravo, more specifically Atlanta, but also he's got his own franchises now of Love and Marriage on the OWN network, and he's got the Bell Collective as well. And he's got his thoughts on Robin not being honest and truthful and sharing her real life on the show versus sharing it on a podcast. But, I wanted to talk about some things that he brought up. And I'm going to play a few of the clips and just really go into this topic because fame really is a drug that a lot of these quote unquote reality stars just cannot let go of. And once they get a taste of that spotlight, once they get a taste of being on television, being recognized, and then definitely getting the checks that they were getting, they can't let go of it. And a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, that's really all they have. They've built what they have built based off of them being on the show. Because listen, I've talked about this before when it comes to business, myself being a business owner, but not having the type of exposure that these people have. Not even saying that I want what they have in terms of the exposure, but being on these platforms, that's what it gives them. It gives them the exposure and it gives people the opportunity to know them in a way, like them or not like them, and trust them or not trust them. But when you get people to know, like, and trust you in business, that's what sales is really all about. So people will purchase your bathwater if they really feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. That's why people like Melody, who created a product based off of her being on that show, people are buying it just because they like her. It may not even be that they really want the product or maybe even really like the product, but they would say they like the product because they like her and they want to support her. And just using that as an example, because she's created like literally a cult following. But when Robin shared some things on this podcast and the things that she was saying, I touched on a few things where I talked about how she's really okay with Juan being with other women. But the fact that she said this woman called Juan, hold up, wait a minute. If it was just some lunatic woman who wants attention, like she and Giselle were saying, go start an OnlyFans, show your booty on OnlyFans, like go make your money that way. Well, she didn't really need to do that because she was having communications with Juan, not just via DMs where she's just sending him either pictures or messages and he's not responding. He was responding, not just in those DMs. He had her phone number and she had his. So the fact that she was able to call Juan, because listen, I said this in my previous conversation, how did she call Juan? How did she get his number? She got his number because he wanted her to have the number. So Carlos exposed something, not just about Robin, but about a lot of these women. I'm going to play this clip.
By Robin's admission. So in case you've been living under a reality rock. Okay, I'm laughing. Okay, so this may be good. Yesterday, Robyndixon from the Real Housewives of Potomac revealed that she knew all along that Robin was definitely talking to a blonde woman and heat lamp. She knew about it. They dealt with it. And he allegedly said something along the lines of, it was the pandemic, I was bored. So when I say to y'all, 90% of housewives have open marriages, I said that when last week and the week before that, that's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep it all the way real on this podcast today because I am pissed.
Okay, so you heard what he said. So he wasn't just talking about Robin. He said 90% of these women have open marriages. And I believe that. I'm not calling any names or speculating on who he's speaking of. And there have been some people that have really put it out there already that they would share their man with other women and all that other foolishness. Like, that's just my opinion when it comes to that type of stuff. But it was really crazy when Robin said that Juan said, well, he was bored and it was the pandemic. He risked you possibly getting infected with COVID and himself by going out and sleeping around with other people because he was bored. You know, to me, it's just like, it's not even that they want to really be in this relationship, because I don't even think that Robin really wants it as much as she may have at one point. I'm not saying she didn't really want it, but I believe that since she has been on this show, it's really given her a sense of feeling like, I'm not having to be wrapped up in this man like I was before, because now I have something of my own. So that's why the house is only in her name. That's why she had the hat line and she was just doing that herself. That's why she was not even, that's the only reason why when it comes to the prenup, but that's one of the reasons why she was just so dead set on the prenup and getting a clause in there about infidelity. She doesn't really want to be in this thing. And I think she was hoping he would like kick up some dirt over the situation. So she would just say, you know, well, this is my out, because in some way, because of her children, I feel she feels like she's trying to stick it out, but she doesn't even really want to be in it anymore. She's been humiliated, embarrassed, and she's trying to laugh it off on the podcast. Like, yeah, I knew about it. I don't buy that she's laughing this thing off like it's not a big deal. I believe she knew that he was unfaithful, but I definitely don't believe that she wanted to have this on public display. And that's why she didn't talk about it on the show. But for $5, if you subscribe to their Patreon, and she'll give you the receipts on why his name was on a hotel receipt. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's really ridiculous. But, you know, Carlos made a comment about how, with him being pissed with the situation and the fact that they're not really doing reality TV the way that it was meant to be, which is you pretty much signing a contract to showcase your life and not just the bits and pieces that you want to be put out on public display, but definitely not faking anything. And yeah, there may be some agreements where it's like, well, I'm not going to have my children on camera, or, you know, I'm not going to put, like, if they're married, my husband, he may be doing some certain type of work in some certain industry, so we can't show that on reality TV. Because when you think about it, Karen has called her husband the Black Bill Gates, but I don't know anything about her husband's company at all. And it makes you wonder, like, is she showing the whole truth? But this isn't about any specific person. This conversation is just about the fact that how these people get, especially on these Real Housewives franchises, but the other ones too, when they get into this reality TV world, they have snorted that drug of popularity and fame, and they cannot put it down. I can remember Karen, and the fact that when she was first on the show, she was definitely a whole lot different than she is now. And she is a fan favorite because people like her for their specific reasons. But that fame drug has really blown her head up ever since. Rihanna, I believe, even said that Karen was her favorite housewife on the Housewives of Potomac. Now she's like, I've got my Ladoms. Like, I guess that's like her fan base. And that type of stuff for me, I'm never a fan of anybody. We're all people. None of us are more than anyone. We are all going to be born. We're going to die at some point. And we live this life and we go through it, and our experiences may be different. We may have more money than others. We may have more notoriety than others, but none of us are better than anyone. So I would never be one of these people that's like strung out on somebody's lifestyle or who they are, who I see them to be, and I'm a fan. No, I'm a human being. I'm nobody's fan, okay? But her head has definitely gotten bigger. Sure that these people get opportunities from being on these shows, and great, handle your opportunities, get your life when it comes to that. But Carlos talked about people being in his DMs all the time, begging to be on shows. And that part for me was one of the most problematic things that he said. And it's not that he said it, it's the fact that people are doing this. People see these people on these shows and they want to be a part of it. You saw Ashley's friend on this most recent season of the Real Housewives of Potomac, and you could tell she was just loving the fact that she was on camera being filmed. And then she made the comments about Candace's husband, Wendy's husband, all of those different things, and she was just loving the attention. She didn't deserve any of it, but these people love to be on show and hoping that they can get an opportunity to come to the reunion, get their face beat, put on a ball gown or whatever, sit on the couch for 2 minutes to speak to Andy and go back and forth with maybe some of the ladies and then be ushered out so you can have your 5 minutes of whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it fame, okay. But people are lacking in so many areas where they feel like they really need this or they really want to be on reality TV. And it just shows how times have changed so much. I mean, think about it with Nene. She was definitely a fan favorite when she was on the show. I liked Nene. I don't dislike her. I like some of the things she said, but some of the things I just wasn't here for. I would never be one of those people that stand for someone so hard that you can see no wrong. Like, I can see where she was right in a lot of situations. Like when Phaedra, it was exposed that Phaedra tried to get Nene's family, who Nene does not associate with, on the show to be filmed when she knew that Nene was not in a good place with those people. And when Nene confronted her about that on the reunion and Phaedra tried to deny it a little bit, like she's denied other things, I was on her side with that, along with a number of other things, you know? But when it came to how she was with the therapist, Dr. Jeff, and just a number of different things that she's done on the show, I wasn't there for that. I wasn't. So, but the ego, the fame, the big head, all of that came with it. And then when she was no longer on the show and how she kept coming at Bravo and Andy and the Real Housewives franchise, trying to get people to boycott and all these other things, it was like, it was all gravy when you were on there. But then when you're not on there, then you don't want people to associate with it anymore. And then now she's wanting to get back on there. But I do believe that that ship has sunk, not just sailed. I believe that ship has sunk. I am never here to want anyone to not be able to thrive and be prosperous and have a career. But when you destroy it yourself, it's not up to other people to give it back to you and feel sympathy for you just because you want to get sympathy. It's not because you deserve it. So with these people being in Carlos's inbox wanting to be on reality TV, it's a sad state in the world, because we're in this place right now where people are striving to be influencers. They want to be on TV, reality TV, so to speak. And years ago, it was not something that people were striving for, to be on reality TV. It was actually seen as something that you don't want to do. But now celebrities who have been in movies or TV and things like that, they want to be on the Real Housewives. You've got Tori Spelling, whose dad, Aaron Spelling, died years ago, had that empire of Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, Dynasty, other shows that he has produced. I know that her mother, I believe, had it so where it was in the will where she didn't really get anything, which was kind of, that kind of sucked. But she has the name, and that's something that can never be taken from her. But I've heard she wants to be on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, think about it. It's like completely flipped now. And a lot of people are getting great opportunities coming out of being on reality TV. Okay, cool. But the fact that people are low-key begging Carlos to put them on a reality TV show, it's sad.
Okay? Because what Robin just revealed is indicative of why people join reality TV for the wrong reasons. Because they want to be famous. They want to be able to like go to the cool parties. They want to be able to date, the rapper or the reality star of the moment. They join for the wrong reasons, and they get mad at me when I say, "But I need your real life." Some things are off limits. What job can you go to and tell somebody that's off limits? If you are a telemarketer and your job is to call people and you tell your boss, I ain't doing all that, child, that's off limits. I ain't about to sit up here and waste my time calling folks. But you're a telemarketer. I ain't doing all that. I don't know what job can LeBron go to work and say, yo, I don't feel like dribbling right now. I just don't. I don't feel like it. You know what? I don't feel like posting up and defending, I don't feel like it. Y'all disrespect the reality TV genre so much that y'all really use these shows for clout. And y'all do it so that y'all can tell your high school friends who bullied y'all, look at me now. When I think about Atlanta Housewives, the earlier days, and y'all heard Cynthia Bailey, Sheree Whitfield, and Marlo Hampton on my podcast, how they were like, one thing about Carlos, he pushed us to be real. Like he pushed us to give our real lives. I literally would sit hours talking to those Atlanta Housewives like, we gotta get real. Get real.
All right, I played that clip there, and you could hear him talking about how people want to be on reality TV because they want to, of course, get seen. They want to go to the cool parties. They want to go on the trips. They want to live that life. But, reality TV for the most part, even though he said he pushes people to be real, a lot of it really isn't real. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be paid the amounts of money that you're being paid and you have some mess going on in your life, then you should put it out there, because it's like, that's why I don't understand why Giselle is still on the show. Because Giselle, we really don't see anything real about her, and I don't care for her at all. But it's like, okay, so Giselle gets a pass because she definitely is not showcasing and exposing her real life. We've seen a few different things here and there, but for the most part, it's for the past several seasons, it's been exposing this one, talking about this one, sharing this about somebody else, nothing about herself. And she has made it known, like when they have asked her questions about who she's dating, she's like, none of your business. So why are you on the show? And why are they allowing her to be on the show and have an EP credit, executive producer? What has she done that has given her the qualifications to do that, let alone if she doesn't even have that experience and she isn't even showcasing her real life? Why is it that she is in the position that she's in? Is it just because of some person there thinking that she has the looks that favor her to allow her to be in that position? I just wonder. I don't know. But, with the things that Carlos exposed, because this episode was not very short of his YouTube video, it was almost 40 minutes long, and I definitely don't want this conversation to be that long. I related with some things that he said. I understood some things that he said. I agree with some things he said. And then some things I didn't agree with, because it's like, why do you all have to sit around for hours to figure out how to get these people to really just be themselves and expose their real lives? Maybe you guys are not really casting the type of people that you need to cast if you're going to continue this. But in my opinion, even though I don't believe reality shows are going anywhere, especially this type, because there's different types of reality shows, I just believe that it's unreal. And so for people to really be upset with Robin, because I can't say that I was upset with Robin for not exposing that on reality TV. Like, some people are really upset and think that she should get fired. I said this before. I don't really care either way, because for the most part, it is fake. It is. And these shows, if people are coming to it for real reality, for the most part, you're not going to really get that. Now, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Robin, but there's talk that she may have been fired. That's a rumor at this point, so I don't really know. But honestly, if she is fired, I wouldn't disagree with the decision, but I also wouldn't really be on the side of Bravo TV either, because they allow Giselle to continue to be on the show and she doesn't expose her real life at all. So what's the difference between not exposing your real life and lying about what was said on the show versus what is said on the podcast? I don't know, guys. I may have been rambling a little bit because there's a multitude of thoughts that I have about just the reality shows overall. But the fact that people are clamoring for this and like this is what their goal is, I just feel that it's a pretty sad state to be in when you are constantly DMing Carlos King, hoping that he would see you as a possibility to be cast in one of his current shows or even creating a show, surrounding their life. But guys, I'm just going to end it there. I would really love to know what you are thinking in terms of just overall with the Real Housewives of Potomac franchise, the Real Housewives franchises overall, and the fact that people are clamoring to get on reality TV and this fame drug that these people just can't seem to put down. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking this video. And guys, until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.